Bill, thanks for sitting down with me today. I appreciate it. Bill, can you tell me a little bit about your main product's called Apex?
Correct. Apex is our coating for mainly all the forage legumes. Forage legumes mainly alfalfas, clovers, and probably out of that, and in the clovers you got the reds, whites, and crimson clover would be the main ones. We also have an organic version of that in the Apex Green. That's an OMRI certified coating for the organic grower. Okay. And that's in addition to those, we also have coatings for some of the grass seeds, which.
And what are they going to expect if your customers? What do they see when they use Apex?
Well, it's got inoculant. Usually we put a fungicide apron in it. We're also putting a lot of these hydration polymers in there to also absorb more moisture to aid in stand establishment. And we're also putting a lot of biologicals, and we also have the option of putting micronutrients package in there.
And so I know always the fun question that I'm sure you get drilled with all the time, all of us in the seed business do. How does it affect yields? What are you seeing in the yield department?
The thing about any of your forage legumes, it's hard to get a yield factor on it because a lot of farmers, they're either feeding their hay. If they're selling the hay, they know what they're getting out of it. Generally, on what we see is the coatings are mainly for stand establishment. And if you get a better stand to start with, that generally lends to itself to a healthier plant, which will tend to give you higher yields out there also. You know, we like to say probably 5 to 10% better on the yield is what our goal is for your alfalfas, clovers.
Can you talk a little bit about the rhizobia that they're going to get in Apex?
Yeah, we do we actually buy rhizobia from some other suppliers, but they do it to our specifications. We've actually done selections over the years, and they actually do specific rhizobia strains for us. Okay. We put an 18-month dating on it. Most of these, though, are for a 2-year dating, but we ship all over the country, so we try to look at where it's going as far as the harshest conditions. We feel 18 months will cover it anywhere in the U.S. since we are shipping in all 48 states and a lot down the south. After that fact, though, we can also recheck it, and probably 95% of the time after that time, we're able to just retag the inoculant. But if they're buying the product and it's within the dating on the tag, they can be assured they're going to get nodulation with the plant.
Right. And then beyond nodulation, what other impacts are we going to get from using the rhizobia?
Well, the rhizobia, all your forage legumes are nitrogen fixing plants. Mm-hmm. And for them to fix the nitrogen, they have to be nodulated. Right. And there's one of two ways to do it. You either have to have a native strain in the soil, or you have to put one on the seed. And the native strains, you may have a lot of native strains out there, but if they're not as effective, they won't yield as good. So with the selective strains that we put on there, they will enhance the yield to the highest because they are the ones that have been selected to work best with the newest varieties out there. Right.
And so then beyond Apex, what other coatings are in the lineup?
We do a lot with the cool season grasses and the warm season grasses. The turf market has been one that's really taken off in just probably the last 5 or 6 years. And there's a lot of growth in the cool season. The warm seasons, we've been doing those coatings for probably 25 years now. It's kind of a mature market on that, but the turf market is one that's really taken off. We've got a plant there in Caldwell, Idaho. Right now hopefully we would have our new plant open in Salem, Indiana. We've got a few permit issues we're going through, so it looks like it's going to be April, but that plant is mainly going to be doing turf grasses for the East Coast.
Okay, excellent. So one of the things that we always end up talking about when we talk coatings is application. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of the things we need to be thinking about as we're looking at the application of these coatings?
Are you looking mainly at the products we can put in there, or the application of the type of equipment we're using? Or?
I'm thinking more on the equipment side, Bill. Yeah, I'm thinking, because that's the comment that I always hear, is that's great that we've got these fantastic coatings. What do we need to be thinking about to make sure that we're getting the right coverage, the right application, at the right place at the right time, so to speak?
There's two types of coating equipment you can use. We've got both of them at our plant in Idaho. One is mainly a slurry type mix, but it does about 2,500 pounds at a time. And then we're also running the newer equipment, which is the rotostats. We've got 3 of those in tandem. About all your systems are a continuous flow batch. You've got to start a batch somewhere, but then after you get the batch, you get your surge bins going. It's pretty much continuous flow. Volume-wise, we can do anywhere from probably 8 to 15,000 pounds an hour with both systems, depending on what kind of species we're running. The equipment has gotten a lot more expensive. We just, I guess in 2008, we put another line in our plant there in Idaho. Since that time, the plant we're putting in Indiana, the cost is almost tripled, and just that length of time. Okay. So,
the joy of expansion.
Right, the joy of expansion, and I guess dealing with state governments on getting permits. Actually, Indiana has been very good to work with, but there's just certain permits that take a little time, and we didn't allow for that much time, I guess you'd say.
Right, so where am I going to find Summit Products? Where am I going to find you? I know you're based in Idaho.
Yeah.
Got expansion going on. What's your key target demographic?
Well, our key target is the basic alfalfa forage companies. That's our main market, and then we also work the distribution trade, which that's all across the U.S. And the distribution trade is one that I've worked for almost 30 years now. They buy almost the same amount of seed every year, depending, doesn't matter if it's volume, or, if they're short, long, they're always buying the same, so it's a pretty steady market for us. The major companies is who we deal with a lot. We do ship all across the U.S., even in here to Hawaii. We do all the 48 states, and I'm not sure we ever shipped anything to Alaska, but exports also make up about 25% of our business. We ship a lot to Mexico, China, Korea, South Korea, and the European Union.
Excellent, okay. So you mentioned Hawaii. That's why we're in the year that we're in.
Yeah.
We're over here at the Pacific Seed Association meetings. What was the sentiment? What did you get when you chatted with the attendees here about what to look forward to for 2015? Good sentiment, bad sentiment, a little delicate?
I think it's a little delicate just because if you look where the corn and soybean prices are, actually soybean has strengthened up a little bit in just the last few days with China making a major move there. But corn, there's a lot of corn seed out there. It's still, prices are depressed from where they have been. And corn takes a lot of inputs. And I think you're going to see, they're going to cut back on the fertilizer. That's one area they can cut back in because they've been fertilizing good for the last few years. But in general, I think we're looking at a good year as far as a lot of optimism in the seed industry right now.
Excellent. Bill, thanks very much again for your time. I appreciate it a lot.
Thanks so much, Shawn.
Perfect.